today.
That's kind of how things have changed. And then in college, my NCAA championship at Penn State in cross country, my first Olympic team. Let me just illustrate by one point. In the fall of '72, when the Munich Olympics were in September and October, not August.
Right, our summer, right.
Because of Oktoberfest, I think, Oktoberfest in Germany. I was a high school senior on the couch in the living room watching Frank Shorter win the marathon, set an American record in the 10,000, and watching Steve Prefontaine finish 4th in the 5,000 meters. And just 4 years later, I'm shoulder to shoulder with Frank Shorter with 2 laps to go in the 10,000 meters in the Olympic trials.
Yeah.
And that's how much my life changed. And that's a really critical time for an athlete. From senior year of high school to senior year of college, so much can happen. And you either grab the train and hang on, or you get left at the station.
Left behind, yeah.
And to do that, to have my hero, and then 4 years later to be shoulder to shoulder with him with 2 laps to go in the 10,000 meters, showed the kind of progress that I was able to make. Now, once I left college, of course, I qualified for 9 Olympic cross-country teams, and that was the team that I loved. Okay, I made 3 Olympic teams, and I made numerous other teams, but it was that world cross-country team that was my favorite. 9 guys. It was almost like same time next year. The screenplay.
Right. Yeah.
So many of us would try to make multiple teams and support each other. And for us, even though there was no money at that time, it was a thrill and an honor to represent America in the World Championships. And we finished second, I think, 5 times, and third twice in my 9 years. So we had good teams compared to what they have today. We had good teams. And so it was a situation where I was most proud of that. My biggest thrill and my greatest honor was winning 2 World Cross Country Championships. And that was in 1980 in Paris and 81 in Madrid. And to be able to stand on that top platform on the podium and have them put the gold medal on my neck. We boycotted the '80 Olympic team. I'll never know how I would have done against Shifter. I guarantee you he would have had to run very hard.
Yeah.
And I think I would have gotten a medal of one color or another. It's just whether I could have beaten Merit Shifter. Could I take a 53-second last lap out of him before we got to that point?
Right, yeah.
But I prepared to run a broken pace all year. And if you look at the trials race against Herb Lindsay, who was in excellent shape that year, I ran a broken pace race so hard that when he finally died and let go, I almost died too. And I had to recover because it was going to be darn embarrassing with 6 laps to go when the leader, who had probably 100 meters in the rest of the field now, couldn't finish the race.
Yeah.
And so I set a record in that, even though it was kind of a fartlek style race, I set a record in that trials in 1980 that stood for 24 years.
Yeah.
That 27:46 was a good time considering how I ran it. And they never broke it again until Meb Keflezighi broke it in 2004.
Yeah.
So the World Championships and then making the 3rd Olympic team in '84, even though I was not a medal contender at that point in time, to make 3, and I think I'm the only American man to make 3 teams in the 10,000 meters.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So those are the thrills and the highlights of my career. But the thing that people have to remember for that every one of those races and victories, there was weeks and weeks and months of just hard work. And I based here in St. Louis for most of my career, or not St. Louis, but Lebanon, but I'm 23 miles away. You might as well be
metro area, yeah.
I can almost see the arch from the farm. And I trained there except for 4 years in Champaign for the University of Illinois, and 1 year up at Eugene, Oregon with Athletics West. I was a charter member of Athletics West back then. I mainly based here in Lebanon. And so, we had strange, tough weather, hot, humid summers.
Right.
Well, you're from Missouri, so you understand. Hot, humid summers, cold, snowy, icy
windy
winters.
Yeah.
And, I had no indoor track to go to, still don't. And so we had to pay a price. And so the thing I was trying to say is that, my family saw my life revolved around 2 workouts a day and racing anywhere from 2 to 3 times a month. And that's what life revolved around for 23 years. And my family knew that they had to accept that, and that's what I was committed to. And so even on Christmas morning, I would get up and run 10 miles before we would open Christmas presents in the morning. I wanted to get the workout over with, so that I could enjoy the rest of the day. And, my family, who will be at the awards dinner, they had to make many sacrifices to allow me to be the athlete that I later became.
Yeah. And
Can I get a sip?
no, yeah, we will. Just one last question. What with it's so fun to see young athletes with potential just really work hard. And what do you any just suggestions or what any advice to young
we're a
athletes?
renaissance of American distance running right now. All right, we did very well in the 60s, 70s, and the very early 80s. And somewhere from 85 on, we started to fall off the map in terms of the international distance running scene. It seems like, with very few exceptions, that our top guys just couldn't compete. And I'm thinking of, Bob Kennedy, Todd Williams, maybe Bob Kempinen. The 90s, I don't want to insult anybody, but we just didn't have any depth in this country.
Right, right.
Guys made Olympic teams that wouldn't have even made the finals back in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
Okay? And it all started in high school. It dried up first in high school, and then it's like a mouse coming down a snake. And
Right.
You see it starts and finishes. The grassroots is high school.
Yeah.
For the most part. Now there's age group running, but for the most part, you look at high school, and that's the beginning for most of these guys to develop.
Yeah.
And when we started to slow down in high school, and 9:15 or 9:18 started winning the state 2 mile at Illinois or the 3200. You knew that things were off because we had guys under 9 minutes when I was in school in the early 70s.
Right.
And so that represented a low mark. And then somewhere around 98 to 2002, the high school distance running picked up.
Right.
And got competitive again. And I'm proud to say that Illinois, my home state, had a lot to do with it. We had the Torres brothers. We had Don Sage.
Sure.
We had Stephen Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
So we had guys that were at the forefront of helping to bring high school distance running on the track and on the cross country back in terms of getting quality times and quality marks. And as those guys came from high school to college, you started to see better results in college. And as those guys graduated from college, our national teams got better.
Improved,
and so I have to say that, kind of 96, 2000 were kind of low marks for us in terms of distance running depth-wise in this country.
Sure.
From really the mile on up. And then in 2004, with Meb and Dina
Yep.
Castor in the marathon, and we had some other guys that at least made finals.
Yeah.
And did well, and we're competitive.
Right.
I saw it start to turn.
Yeah.
And 2008 was even better, and in the intervening years we started to have guys that made finals in the World Championships and then started to pick off some medals.
Right.
And the distances. And I'm excited about the future of American distance running. I'm excited because not only do we have some great guys out of school right now, we have some even better guys graduating.
Right.
And I think that the future of our national team in the next 4 to 6 years is very bright.
Right.
But what's made me excited is that we got more good kids coming out of high school.
The pipeline, yeah.
And so as long as you keep that pipeline full, we have a shot to be competitive. I believe deep in my heart that we have enough distance runners that we should be able to battle Ethiopia and Kenya in the World Cross Country Championships if we ever put our best guys on the line.
Right, right.
And the fact that they now only require 6 runners versus 9 helps us because it negates Kenya's depth.
Depth, yeah.
Ethiopia's depth.
Right.
And the trouble is we don't get our best guys either going to the trials or they go to the trials and they don't go to the World Championships.
Yeah. The motivation isn't there. The big money summer track meets is that's where the money is.
There's some money at the World Championships, but
Yeah.
we did it for nothing.
Right, yeah.
And to us it was about national pride, and we looked at the World Cross Country Championship as being a catalyst. For 15 years, guys that competed and made the World Championship team and then were competitive in the World Championships race almost automatically could count on having a great track season.
Right.
They were going to get PRs.
Yeah.
Okay? And so guys looked at it as a stepping stone, as a bridge from the fall to the track season, and that's what it paid.
Yeah.
That's where it paid off. So I'm looking forward to a time, if we can get our best guys, where we can be back in the top 3 again in cross country.
Right.
I'm looking this next summer, at having some distance runners and middle distance runners make the Olympic finals.
Yeah.
The fact that we had a male and a female medalist in the 1500 World
That's
Championships
amazing.
last year.
Yeah.
And we also had guys